What if the next major war isn't fought in deserts but on a frozen ocean? Russia and NATO are quietly amassing unprecedented military might in the Arctic, turning the planet's northernmost frontier into a powder keg. The strategic implications are terrifying, and we're about to expose what this icy confrontation truly means for your future. Picture this: massive submarines slicing through Arctic ice, new airbases emerging in desolate landscapes, and a race for resources that's chillingly real. This isn't a Hollywood script, it's the escalating military buildup between NATO and Russia in the Arctic as of late 2025. We'll take you deep into this frozen battleground to understand the high stakes and potential fallout of this unprecedented arms race. The Arctic, once a frozen, lifeless frontier, is now melting faster than any point in recorded history. And as the ice disappears, it's revealing something far more valuable than anyone expected: power. Because beneath that vanishing white shield lies the world's next great geopolitical prize, a region rich with oil, gas, and rare minerals that could reshape global energy markets. Every degree of warming isn't just a climate story anymore, it's a military one. New sea lanes, like the Northern Sea Route along Russia's coast, are shortening global shipping by nearly 2 weeks compared to the Suez Canal. Imagine tankers and cargo ships sailing through waters that just a decade ago were impassable. This isn't just geography changing, it's strategy being rewritten in real time. And nations know it. Russia, the US, Canada, and even China, a country thousands of miles away, are racing to plant their flag, claim resources, and control the emerging Cold Silk Road. If the Arctic is the new front line, then Russia has already built the first fortress. For years, while much of the world debated climate change, Moscow was quietly doing something else, rebuilding its Cold War-era outposts one by one across the frozen north. From Franz Josef Land to Novaya Zemlya, satellite images now reveal gleaming new runways, radar domes, and missile silos emerging from the ice. It's not nostalgia, it's strategy. Putin's long game is brutally clear: turn the Arctic into a shield and a sword. Old Soviet bases are now being modernized with cutting-edge technology, housing radar arrays that track Western aircraft and missile systems capable of denying access to vast swaths of Arctic airspace. Russia has also created entire Arctic brigades, trained to fight, survive, and operate in conditions most armies wouldn't last an hour in. They deploy nuclear-powered icebreakers, the largest fleet in the world, not just to open trade routes, but to escort warships through them. These vessels are the silent enforcers of Moscow's polar ambitions. And then there's the Bastion Defense, a term that sounds poetic but hides something chilling. It's the strategy to secure Russia's northern flank, home to its most powerful nuclear submarines, hidden under the Arctic ice. If threatened, this bastion becomes the launchpad for Russia's ultimate deterrent. So when Western analysts call the Arctic a new Cold War, they're not exaggerating. This time, the ice isn't dividing the world, it's becoming the battlefield beneath it. For every move Russia makes in the north, NATO now answers with one of its own. The alliance that once looked south and east has turned its gaze upward to the top of the world. In recent years, NATO's Arctic members, Norway, Denmark, Canada, and the United States, have quietly tightened their cooperation. What used to be isolated patrols and symbolic flyovers have evolved into full-scale operations across the frozen frontier. The message is simple: the Arctic is not a vacuum, it's NATO territory now too. Massive joint exercises like Cold Response and its successor Nordic Response have become annual statements of intent. Thousands of troops, submarines under the ice, F-35s screaming through polar skies, testing not just firepower, but coordination. It's about proving that NATO's machinery can operate, communicate, and survive in the world's harshest climate. And then came the turning point: Finland and Sweden joining NATO. Two nations born of the North, with decades of cold weather expertise and intimate knowledge of Arctic warfare. Finland's 830-mile border with Russia suddenly transformed from a neutral buffer into NATO's new front line. Sweden, with its advanced Gripen fighters and Arctic surveillance network, adds an intelligence edge few others possess. Together, these new members don't just add numbers, they shift the balance. What was once Russia's uncontested backyard is now being watched, mapped, and patrolled by a united northern front. The Arctic standoff isn't just about tanks, submarines, or missiles, it's about control over the unseen world beneath the ice. Hidden under the frigid waters are the arteries of the modern world: undersea internet cables, energy pipelines, and communication networks that connect continents. Whoever controls these cables doesn't just control data, they control information, trade, and, in many ways, power itself. That's why the Arctic has quietly become a digital battlefield. Russia has been mapping and guarding cable routes near its northern coast, while NATO has begun deploying specialized submarines and drones to monitor the same fragile lifelines. One cut, one sabotage could cripple economies or ignite an international crisis. But power here comes with a paradox. The Arctic holds an estimated 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and 30% of its natural gas, yet extracting it risks destroying one of the planet's most delicate ecosystems. Every drill that bites into the ice represents a moral question. How far should nations go in the name of security and prosperity when the cost may be irreversible environmental collapse? And then comes the greatest danger: miscalculation. The Arctic lacks the kind of clear governance that exists elsewhere. No NATO-Russia hotline, no established boundaries for military encounters, no comprehensive treaty for undersea claims. One radar blip misread as a threat, one drone flying too close, and a cold standoff could suddenly turn hot, in a place where rescue, communication, and diplomacy all move painfully slow. So yes, this is more than a race for resources. It's a test of restraint, responsibility, and survival in a region that's as fragile as it is strategic. So, if you want to stay ahead of the story, the real story, make sure you subscribe to ViperJet Wings. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and join a community that thinks beyond the noise.